Again, we're here for the course Spartan Society to the Battle of Leuctra, and we're looking at social structure and political organisation today, focusing on the Helots. If we have a look here at the syllabus dot point, it is the fourth one down underneath social structure, and in that dot point we look at the Spartiates themselves, the Perioiki, who are the dwellers around, the inferiors, who are those Spartiates who had lost their citizenship, and finally the Helots. And as indicated by that dot point, we can see where they sort of sit in that social hierarchy. They're right down the bottom. If we have a look here, we see the map here of Messenia, which is where the majority of the Helots were from. They were the enslaved people of Messenia and also from Laconia as well. They were an enslaved people. That doesn't mean that they were slaves. A slave implies individual ownership, and these were not owned by individuals, as indicated here. They were owned by the state of Sparta, so they were actually owned by the Sparta as a whole. What we need to understand about the Helots is the way it worked generally is that they were attached to an allotment of land called a kleros. The kleros was the parcel of land given to every Spartan male when they graduated, we think, from the agoge, and on that parcel of land would be an allotment of Helots that would work the land and farm the land for the Spartiates, which allowed them to continue to train and be the military superior society that they were. They completed all the agricultural responsibilities, and what happened with the produce is it went three different ways. A portion of it went to the Syssitia, which we will look at, which is the mess hall where the Spartiates ate all their meals. So a portion of it was required to go to that mess hall. A portion of it went to the Spartiates' family, and a portion was retained by the Helots for their own sustenance and also to trade and barter for other goods as well. The Helots really had no legal or political power in Sparta at all. However, Finley points out that they probably had a little bit more freedom than many of the other Spartiates. Many of the other slaves, probably from other Greek city-states, because they could remain in one place. They were attached to the land. They could have a family and maintain their household, and their sons and daughters kept their name. So they had quite a bit of freedom in comparison to many other slaves. However, they weren't treated particularly well by the Spartiates generally. They were treated probably as less than human, and we see that in the way that the Spartiates liked to get them drunk to make a point of the fact that how foolish the Spartiates were, how silly they were. The Helots were, and how silly they were. And there was also the Crypteia as well, which is another dot point, which was the secret police that went about indiscriminately killing the Helots. The ephors as well would declare war on the Helots once a year to, I suppose, legitimise the killing of the Helots. And they were also forced to wear animal skin clothing to further dehumanise them. So they weren't treated particularly well, but they did have some freedoms. The Helots also had a military role. They would go away on campaign to act as aides or servants to the Spartan soldiers. And they would also act as slingers, so skirmishers or harriers of the enemy, not in the front line. They certainly weren't frontline soldiers. So the Helots were very, very important to Spartan society because they freed the Spartiates up to be the soldiers that they were, to maintain their training regimen, and to focus solely on the military rather than having to worry about agricultural pursuits. So they're incredibly important to Spartan society. And the Helots also occasionally revolted to try to gain their freedom, and that was another issue that the Spartiates faced throughout this time period.